All right, welcome back to another episode of Exquisite Seafood with Chef Justin Fields. Today's theme is going to be snow crab. All right, snow crab, delicacy out there. I personally believe that snow crab has a better flavor than king, right? King is big and massive, but snow has all that flavor in it. So we're going to show you some non-traditional styles of cooking it and eating it. Typically, you'll see them in boils, just kind of steamed open, a little bit of butter to the side. Nothing wrong with that, but what we're doing today, I guarantee you have not seen yet. So stay tuned. All right, guys, so we said snow crab is the theme today, and we have some beautiful snow crab clusters here, right? So when you say cluster, right, it's usually gonna have a few claws on it. The claw, actually, the legs, right? A little bit of the body there, usually cleaned out. These are par cooked, right? So they're cooked on the boat when they catch them to keep the freshness there, to make them delicious as possible, right? All you have to do is really like warm them up, either in the oven, on the grill, in a nice court bouillon in a pot. But what we're doing today is taking them in this state, and then we're going to be doing a ceviche with one, and then we're going to be doing another style on doing a piccata with the other, right? So ceviche, typically on a ceviche, you would cook your fish in the liquid or the seasonings that you're putting on the actual fish to make it delicious, right? Not only does it make it delicious, it's actually the acids cook the seafood to get it to a safe area to eat. Which comes out of, back in the days when you didn't have refrigeration and all these things. Snow crab is already cooked. More or less, we're flavoring it with the same kind of ingredients that you would do with a ceviche that you would be adding the acid to actually cook it. So we have some tropical ingredients going on. We got some papaya, some mango, tomato, lime juice, a few peppers, some scallion. Will be really tasty. Got some plantain chips to go along with that. But on this side, we'll be doing a piccata, right? So a traditional piccata, something that you'll typically see out there, very classic kind of dish. We're gonna be taking the actual meat right here and dipping it in a little bit of flour, browning it in the pan, adding some lemon, adding some capers, a little bit of parsley. We'll be doing that over a beautiful cauliflower mash. Okay, so first and foremost, we talked about the cluster, right? So we have our legs, we have our claw, but what we're trying to do is we're trying to get the meat out so that we can do these preparations with the crab itself, right? So a little trick that I like to use, right? There's a few different things that you can do. I like to use a nice pair of shears because the biggest obstacle is, hey, how do I get the crab out of the shell without getting it all beat up, right? So if you can imagine, the meat that's inside of this small leg, it's good, right? It's small, and it won't necessarily play into what we're doing. So with a piccata, you typically make a stock or add stock to the pan to deglaze it. We're gonna utilize these smaller pieces and all these open shells to make our own stock. And I already have some of that going in the back right now. So you'll see me as I'm prepping this out, I'll be throwing some little veggie scraps in there, some of my snow crab shells in there as well to get that flavor into our piccata. But let's talk about what we do here, right? So typically, if you pop out the joint, right, you'll have this cartilage inside of it, right? This is what lives inside of that actual meat. So you want to make sure that you pull that out when you go to make this ceviche or this piccata, because you want people to eat this and not have little pieces of bone or cartilage in there, right? So typically that comes out. If it does not, feel inside the meat, make sure it comes out. But what I like to use, like I said, we have our leg right here, and I have my shears. What I'll typically do is just very gently go down the side. I'm not, when I'm cutting this down, I'm not trying to have my blade go all the way towards the meat. I'm doing very shallow cuts and going up both sides of that to make a window cut so I can pop it open and easily pull my meat out. So I'm just gonna show you guys what that looks like, right? So using my shears, making very shallow kind of cuts along there, right? One side, and then we're going up this other side, doing a little bit of the same. Watch your hands, right? You might want to use a cutting glove or something like that, just to make sure that you don't poke yourselves. But once you have that clip like that, you can easily kind of pull that meat, right? And your meat is inside just like that. We already said that we pulled out our cartilage, so we know that's a clean piece right there. And just be gentle, pull that out, and you have these beautiful pieces of meat. It's split a little bit, but After we're done, we're gonna chop some of that and utilize it towards our ceviche, but we want the big, nice pieces for our piccata. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through, clean these out, get all my shells into the pot, and then we will start with our very clean crab that can go into our dishes. Stay tuned. All right, so we have cleaned our crab. We have a little bit more here in case you want, a little bit more on the side. But what I did was, I got my nice meat out. There's a few pieces that were a little bit chopped up. I'm saving those for my ceviche. I want my piccata to be some nice long pieces of meat that you can actually enjoy as almost like an entree. We're gonna put that over some cauliflower mash, and I already have those laying in the flour. Typically, I would season the flour for a chicken piccata or something like that, veal piccata. What I'm not doing is gonna season this here because the crab itself is already salty. It already has that salt element to it. We'll be adding a little bit of cracked black pepper when we go into the pan. Maybe a little bit more salt because we're adding that flour and we're adding a little bit of the stock, just a background, but we're gonna taste it first and make sure that we're there. So I'm gonna put this to the side, but let's go ahead and take our crab and just do a rough chop on our crab. So we have our crab here. Taking the pieces that we have, we're making a ceviche, right? So you want everything to kind of have a uniform color, chop to it. Snow crab tends to shred up also, which is a good thing. It kind of is a way for you to recognize that it's snow crab instead of, lump crab, which is a lot cheaper of a different quality. So look out for that. But we're just gonna put this into our bowl, right? So our pulled snow crab meat. You could also buy pulled snow crab meat frozen as well. This is what a lot of sushi restaurants use. They will get it in frozen and utilize it towards their California rolls, different things of that nature. So if you don't want to put in the work, that's cool, but you're gonna be paying a little bit extra for it, so just keep that in mind. So we have our crab in our bowl, and let's just talk about some of the ingredients that we're gonna add to this bowl to make our ceviche. So a traditional ceviche, you're making your leche de tigre, which is almost your seasoning or your marinade for the ceviche. It typically has lime or lemon, a little bit of onion, and they sometimes take a little bit of the raw seafood, chop it up, and blend it in as well, give it like a creamy kind of texture. We're not doing that today. What we are going to be focusing in is two of those ingredients, the lime and the red onion. But we also talked about papaya, right? So papaya, tropical fruit, beautiful seeds, right? The seeds you do not eat. So we're simply going to cut this down, remove these seeds out the middle, and then we are going to dice this up and add it to our bowl. We have also taken all of our shells that we had and added it to our stock. So we have this beautiful fortified stock behind me that is rolling right now that we can go and add to our piccata when we are ready for it. But that papaya I'm just gonna put to the side, get all these seeds out of here. These little black seeds are sticky, so watch out for them, right? But what I like to do is just kind of follow that rind, right? I'm trying to focus in on that beautiful ripe flesh. We have another kind of ingredient that's going to be coming over here with the mango, so I don't want to add too much, but a nice even dice. We're going for about 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch dice. This is rustic. This is very rough, right? So ceviche, again, kind of like poke. Talking two different parts of the world, but kind of the same kind of thought process, right? Kind of taking your fish and how can I preserve it? How can I flavor it and make it last as long as possible? So that lime juice, right? We talked about the lemon or lime. We talked about the tomato, and then also the mango. So having some mango, right? The mango has that pit going inside of it. We talked about this before, right? I'm just gonna trim this around on all sides. Actually got a little dark spot there, so not only does this help you get rid of your skin, but you can eliminate any of that softened fruit that may not be as pleasant as the beautiful bright stuff that you have here. So peel that skin away. We're gonna get that pit out. We're gonna dice some of this mango up and add it to our ceviche. Not a lot of places you see a snow crab ceviche. It's one of those things that, again, especially in New York, where all like these crab boil spots are really like blowing up. you don't really see like this fresh approach. It's more about the lemon and the garlic and the butters and all these different things that you got going on, right? So that's about all I need on my mango, right? One little hunk. We're not making a huge portion here, but just want that rainbow of color. So similar fashion, just a rough kind of 3/4 to 1/2 inch dice. That's gonna go inside our bowl as well, all right? Make sure that your fruit is ripe. You know, one of the worst things you can do is attempt to do a ceviche or any one of these kind of like seafood salads, and you're picking up this fruit that just isn't right. You know, you want some ripe fruit so those flavors come all the way out. You know, I'm trying to balance my colors here as well. I know that tomatoes are sweet, but they add acid to the party as well. So ceviche is the perfect avenue for an acidic vegetable or fruit, if you will, because all fruit have seeds. So tomato is technically a fruit, but it adds that beautiful acid to the party, right? So we're just gonna keep on adding our different ingredients. You're gonna see this beautiful color emerge in our bowl. Some red onion, right? I like my red onion for ceviche to be shaved and not diced, right? All these other ingredients pretty soft, but on red onion, I actually like to shave it out and have it be very thin, because nobody likes a huge hulking piece of onion when you're biting down on all this beautiful, delicious kind of food. So it's a very thin kind of julienne here. Again, not too much, like I know that I'm there. I'm gonna kind of separate those as I put them in. Again, nobody likes that huge hulking piece, right? So just make sure it's separated as you're going in, right? Put that to the side as well. What else do we have here, right? We have some peppers here, right? So these are some sweet long peppers that I got from the local market. I could not resist the color that we had going on here. So just gonna go ahead and take a little bit of that as well. The peppers are nice and soft. They give you a nice crunch. They're not, you know, you don't have that astringent kind of acidic, well, not acidic, that astringency that you get from the red onion. So we're just gonna add that straight up, right? Thinking about my flavors, right? Sweetness from the bell pepper, which is more of that kind of natural sweetness, not your sweetness, tropical sweetness that you're getting from your mango. A little bit different. We have a couple different colors of peppers here that we're gonna be adding to this. Right, when you talk about ceviche, you want those bright colors and bright flavors to kind of shine. And that's what we're trying to do here. So, add all those to the party. Some of those yellow bells as well. In a minute here, we're gonna just mix everything up, add our lime. And the magic about this is, you know, you could get ahead on this. You could do this the day before, allow everything to sit, marry together, more so for the marination aspect of it, not necessarily to cook anything, right? So, let's go ahead and roll our lime. Make sure we maximize the amount of juice that we get out of this thing. We're gonna squeeze that over as well. So do not be shy on the lime piece here. You know, that crab, right? Crab has an inherent flavor, you know, and especially if you go between king crab, snow crab, you know, similar flavors, even like lump crab, blue crab, similar flavors, but definitely have distinct, you know, attributes about each one, right? And you know, you go to Maryland, people love those jumbo lump crab cakes, right? If you try to take snow crab and put it in a Maryland style crab cake, it'd be good, but a true lover of a Maryland style crab cake would be like, what the heck is this? What's going on? This is not what I signed up for. So just make sure that you're, you know, if you're playing, it's good to play, but just know your audience. Doing this stuff at home, just experimenting, totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all, right? Gonna add a little bit of scallion as well. So we have our red onion, a little bit of scallion, which adds that green element to this. A little bit of fresh cracked pepper. We already talked about the salt inherently being in the snow crab. So I'm just gonna add just a touch of this salt right here. And let's give this a little twirl and see where we are, right? So look at that crab just kind of shine through, right? You know, the crab marries with everything else. It starts to shred up and become, you know, one with all the other ingredients. Super flavorful, super fresh, right? I think one thing that I'm missing here, maybe a little bit of fresh herb. So I'm gonna taste this now, but I know that this will actually pick up flavor as it sits. So where I am now, we'll probably build over time. I mean, that's really all you need. I don't need a whole lot more. I am gonna add a little bit of cucumber, these mini guys, just for that textural, because we have a lot of soft going on, and a little bit of fresh herb in there just for that pop. But that's super tasty already. So these mini cucumbers, just cut my ends off. Probably go with some half moons into some halved half moons, like little triangles, and just give those a cut. I'll add all of these, like I said, I had the flavor, I had the sweetness there, but this will give me a nice fresh crunch to this and a nice color. And then a little bit of parsley. And the reason I say parsley is it gives you that freshness without that kind of cilantro background. I love cilantro, but cilantro is one of those ingredients that you either love it or you hate it. And a lot of people, they taste cilantro, they taste soap. And a lot of people just really hate that flavor profile. So you can get there with fresh herb. You don't necessarily need to use cilantro, but we're using parsley today because my flavors are super bright already. I can taste my crab, I can taste the sweetness, so I don't need much more. So take one more of these spoons, give that a mix. Wow, that looks amazing. All right, let's let this sit for a second, and then we're gonna transition into making our snow crab piccata. All right, so we have our snow crab in our dredge. We have a little bit of oil going in here, and I'm just gonna coat these on both sides with that flour. We talked about the seasoning or the salt element already being a part of the crab inherently, right? So we're just gonna not season the flour, but we're gonna add a little bit of seasoning in the actual pan. Let's start there, right? So remove my excess, and I'm just kind of adding those brown or dredged legs to the pan. Just like that. What you're trying to do is develop a nice light brown color. We're gonna deglaze the pan with a few ingredients. We're gonna add some capers, and then we're gonna finish, when we go to plate, with a little bit of fresh parsley at the end, just to brighten things up a little bit. We did pull to the side some of our stock that we were working, add a little bit of those shells to it as we were cleaning them up, and we have that pulled to the side and ready to add to this saute. So as those are browning, what I'm gonna do is just add a little bit of butter to that pan, right? So I have olive oil already in there. Let's add a little bit of butter as well, okay? This will help to richen things up. You're essentially gonna be making almost like this pan sauce in the bottom of the pan, and that butter will assist with that. So I'm at about a medium heat or so. Again, we're looking for that crab to brown up a little bit, develop some caramelization, and then we're gonna flip it right over. In this step, you know, just keep in mind, the crab is already cooked, right? We're not cooking it from raw, so just keep that in mind. Right, a little bit different than if you were to be making a chicken piccata or any other piccata where you're using raw protein. You actually want to cook the protein totally before you go ahead and serve it. So we're just trying to develop flavor here. So just gently flipping these around. You want to develop that texture on the outside of the crab without things burning or getting too hot, right? And we don't want that butter to burn out either. A little bit of nuttiness from like a brown butter is cool, but you don't want dark, totally brown butter. And again, brown butter is not necessarily a flavor component in a true piccata anyway. So I have that ready. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to add some capers to the party. All right, let's go about 2 tablespoons because I love a very saucy piccata, right? A little bit of those. I'm gonna add a little bit of garlic. Let's add about 2 cloves or so. Chopped garlic to that party as well. Fresh black pepper, right? Now I'm not gonna add salt because imagine the ingredients here. You have the garlic, you have the caper, which is briny. The caper, that brininess is gonna add salt and give you that kind of background seafood flavor as well. So just let those flavors develop. The crab will just naturally start to turn in that pan, right? And what I'm gonna add now is a little bit of that crab stock that we just made after cleaning. Right, and that just amps up the flavor even more, right? You've taken those shells off, but those shells have so much flavor, you do not want to lose that stuff, right? Over here, I have a combination of lemon juice and a little bit of white wine. We're gonna add that over as well, right? So talk about brightness. Brightness in this is just surrounded by everything. So let's just give our sauce a little bit of a taste. Right, you got that briny, you have that brightness from the lemon. I was expecting this to be a little bit salty than it was. I'm just gonna add just a touch. Just because my broth itself needs a little bit of that action going on. So, more cracked, and I'm gonna add a couple more pads of butter just to seal the deal. And then we're gonna put this to the side and allow this to chill as we plate up the other. We'll add parsley over this and then finish with a cauliflower mash right under it. Stay tuned. All right, so we just pulled our piccata off the stove, right? Got a beautiful sauce going. But we said we're gonna finish that off with a little bit of parsley. So let's start there. I have some chopped parsley. I like to add it directly into the pan, right? And just get that nice speckle going. I'm not afraid to add, you know, a nice amount of parsley to this. This is what you expect for a typical piccata, okay? So just swirl that around. What we did in the interim while this was kind of warm, we had our cauliflower, which we threw in the microwave for about 4 minutes or so, just to get it nice and soft. Added some cream cheese, a little bit of salt and pepper, and just made a nice mash here, right? So a cauliflower mash. I like to keep mine a little bit chunky. I actually use a masher instead of a food processor. We were not going for a puree. We were going for a true mash that kind of stands up and gives you body, because we do have a very soft kind of crab here. So on our yellow plate, I'm just gonna pile this up in the middle. This cauliflower mash, just as such, right? You have a lot of bright flavors going on in your piccata, so we wanted to give you something that was a little bit rich and hearty to go along with it, right? And this is what the cauliflower mash does for this dish, right? So, and then mashed potatoes is a common side that you'll see with a piccata, right? But we just wanted to do some cauliflower instead. Cauliflower is on trend, and it's delicious, so why not? But right on top of this is where we're gonna start placing these beautiful crab legs. So you have those legs that were quickly dredged in a little bit of flour. We took them, we browned them off in the pan, right? We got these beautiful knuckles, legs, right? I'm saving these beautiful claw pieces just to put right at the very top, because they are kind of showstoppers, right? Kind of shows off that beautiful crab that you've worked so hard to get the meat out of, right? And then right at the very end, what's gonna happen is this sauce is gonna just cover everything. So let's go ahead with our sauce, right? It's over the entire deal, spread around the love. I mean, it's just very indulgent and a hearty way to enjoy snow crab, which I guarantee you, I'd put money on it that you've never seen a snow crab piccata. All right, so that's one approach right there. Clean your sides, right? Make sure that it's looking good. Very indulgent way to enjoy snow crab. But on the other side, we're going super fresh, right? So what we did was we had some plantain chips that we fried up. We had our plantains. We threw those on the Japanese mandolin or the Japanese finger slicer, depending on where you're standing. And sliced those pretty thin, threw those in the fry. Got them crisp. We did some long, right? We did some long. I'm a fan of keeping the actual skin on because you get this groovy kind of look to it. And then when you do the smaller chips, they almost cup on you. So you almost have like this scoop type of effect when you go to eat your ceviche or something of this nature. But our ceviche has been marinating for a while now. Flavors have married beautifully. And we're just gonna pile this right in the middle of these beautiful leaves. I added the leaves as well, so you can enjoy this almost like a lettuce cup type of approach also, right? So you can grab a leaf, you can fill it up with your ceviche, you can choose to have it with your chip, right? You know, there's a lot of people out there, hey, I don't like fried, I'm trying to stay light. Hey, you have options here when we go to plating. So just top that off. You see how that crab has shredded. Some of the pieces have stayed whole, but you know, the flavors of the crab have permeated the dish. And you are left with, you know, this beautiful ceviche that you can enjoy with your plantain chip or lettuce wrap as such. So look at these two snow crab preparations we have in front of us. Beautiful, non-traditional, you know, some style that you would probably not think. If you looked at these two dishes, you probably wouldn't think that they were snow crab, but they are, right? So we have this lighter, beautiful ceviche, right? Tropical flavors, mango, papaya, a few different things going on. You can add some avocado to this. You can add that cilantro if you like. You know, we went a different direction today, but on this side, we're going a little heavier, a little bit more indulgent, right? Classic piccata, but using snow crab, beautiful sauce, beautiful like Sunday dinner type of approach, shareable. Both of these are, but I'm just gonna dive in really quick and just give this a taste, man. I can't resist looking at this as I'm cooking it. So many times that I'm making stuff, I don't get a chance to eat it, so. Beautiful flavors, you know. The one thing after eating that, jalapeno would play really nice in that. Some fresh spice would be amazing. But very beautiful dish. I still taste the snow crab. Amazing flavors going on there. Let's dig into this piccata. So I grabbed one of these claws up top. A little bit of this cauliflower mash. Sometimes I impress myself. Actually, every time I do. If you guys have any questions at all, you can definitely reach out to me, Chef J Fields TV, on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. You can reach out to me, Chef J Fields TV at gmail.com. If you have any questions here, if you mess up, it's cool, but always remember to never stop cooking, guys. See you next time. Cheers.